Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. Today I'm going to be reacting to The Crown Season 6, Episode 2. This is called Two Photographs. I imagine because of the time frame that we're looking at, right before Princess Diana died, at least if they stay on the same timeline as they were, we're going to be talking about probably two photographs in the media that were utilized to get the public into a tizzy and probably the Crown into a bigger tizzy, but we'll see. We'll see what that was. There's only certain things that I remember from the media at that time because I was really not paying a lot of attention until the point of Princess Diana's death. Because frankly, it felt like a lot of the stuff that was coming out of media then that just falls into realms that I don't tend to care a lot about. And it also falls into realms where I feel like they're really invading people's privacy more than I think that they should. I was a young adult, I was in the military, so I was definitely busy with military stuff at the time. And I remember being very irritated by what I would call smut and rags, like the Inquirer, that were all about catching every celebrity's every move and also about making up stories if they didn't find the headlines that they wanted. So I really didn't pay much mind to that stuff, kind of went about my own business. Now, with the last episode, they did give us that little glimpse of Princess Diana's death right before the introduction. I was a little taken aback by that because I was not expecting it right off the bat. But they pulled back and went a couple months to kind of pull away from that. So I am glad they made that choice. And because we're focusing on Dodi Al-Fayed, with good reason, Dodi Al-Fayed was in the car with Princess Diana when she died, and he died as well. So it makes good sense that we're spending a little more time focusing on him. Because I did not know a whole lot about him other than he was in the car with her and there were salacious rumors about their relationship. I decided to go ahead and look into him and the relationship he was having with his fiance so I could see what was going on in real life versus the show. He did have this relationship with a bikini model named Catherine, and he did seem to have something going on with Princess Diana around the time of her death. But it also says that that relationship went on for like less than a couple months. The original idea that I thought they were going out for a couple years was just way off. I didn't really read any other articles, but I did read other headlines, did find out little bits and pieces of what was going on with him and Diana. I think when all was said and done, they said she did go back and sue him for damages. I don't know that anything came of that. It didn't really talk about that. Did they actually get married? The article made it sound like they may have gotten married, they may not have gotten married. I couldn't really make heads or tails of that. I would think that would be something people could find out pretty easily. It should be public information. Now, if the timeline on the show and in real life are fairly well comparable. According to the show, they were planning to get married 3 weeks from the time they started that trip that they were on in the last episode. And that would put any romantic relationship they may have had well within the amount of time that they had gotten married, if they stuck to that plan of getting married in 3 weeks from the time that he started that trip. But I have no idea. You can plan a marriage to go at one time, still get married to the person, but marry them at a completely different time. When me and my husband started planning our wedding, we had originally been looking at an end of December date to get married, but because of challenges booking dates around Christmas time, we ended up changing our wedding date 3 times before we got married. And that last time that we changed wedding dates, I was like, if we have to change this shit again, we should just go ahead and go to the Justice of the Peace, go to the courthouse, and get married that way. Luckily, we didn't have to change our wedding date again, but we ended up with a beginning of December wedding date. The biggest thing is that when you get that paperwork from the courthouse, that everything matches up with what you're reporting to the courthouse and that you get everybody's signatures on there. I don't remember the exact process, but I always find it interesting when they show these people that just get married at the drop of a hat. They just like got drunk one day, went and got married that night, and didn't seem to have to worry about any paperwork. Now, I'm assuming that when you go to Las Vegas or something like that and they actually conduct weddings like that, that maybe they have some process at hand where you can do some of the paperwork at the last minute or right there. I don't know, but I always thought that was funny because I remember going through quite a process in order to make sure that we had the legal paperwork done well before the wedding. And maybe we'll get a little bit more time with Princess Diana before her death, as much time as I can spend seeing a little bit of what was going on in her life at the time. I think I would rather see that than the aftermath because I definitely remember a lot more about the aftermath and it was not pleasant. A lot of people were quite upset at the way that the Queen reacted or didn't react because of the appearance of her not showing up publicly for a while. That did make people very upset. I don't recall what my reaction was. I was just very upset that Princess Diana was killed because a bunch of paparazzi would not frickin' lay the fuck off. That's what I was really freaking upset about. That somebody was killed for this. That's how bad the invasion of privacy was. They were so rabid that they would follow somebody to their death. That to me is so beyond any lines that anybody should ever be crossing. If you're a journalist or you just want your freaking couple minutes of fame, whatever it is, that kind of shit is so way out of line. Like, seriously, I don't even. Anyway, let's get to the show.
My name is Mario Brenna. I'm 40 years old. I'm a professional photographer. The market has gone crazy. They are no different. They are human beings just like us.
Exactly.
Making mistakes just like us.
Yep.
Never to be like hunters. They take more risks than anyone.
My name is Duncan Muir.
We're getting a much deeper look at these paparazzi, photographers, news journalists.
She's a very special lady. My wife sometimes jokes that I love the Queen more than her. I'm a proud Elizabethan.
And here it is, the introduction to The Crown, Season 6. Now this is a very similar introduction to all of the rest of the seasons. There is some slight difference, but not much. Remember, if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done it already and you'd like to, you can click the subscribe. And if you would like more notifications later, you can click the little bell and click all. That's totally up to you. You do whatever you choose. And here it comes. The Crown.
Robin.
Yep, remember that sound.
Approximately 1 million people have been logging on every week.
What have they been doing?
We must still discuss Diana, Princess of Wales. Paris with Dodi Fayed.
Hey, if she's out, she's out. Isn't that the Queen's take?
In an uncomfortable position.
How? I don't understand.
How can the government reasonably deny him the British citizenship he is so actively seeking?
I'm not understanding why you refuse to give him British citizenship, but I don't know what the regulations are. I know the regulations in America to become a citizen are ridiculous and convoluted, and that is half the problem with our system. I think the other half the problem is trying to filter out those that might be questionable versus those that safe and good people to have in our country that will actually help it. So, I don't know. How do you balance that? It's beyond me.
One room, one bed.
Thank you.
Now, I had heard in the comment section of one of the reactors that I watched that those closest to the princess felt like their relationship was more of a good friend relationship, but what do we know? You know, you got people trying to do this. It doesn't take that much for media to make things look the way they want them to.
I was supposed to be getting married. No, I'm probably not.
You gotta talk to your fiance one way or another, whether you're marrying her or not.
I thought I might fly to LA when you go to Bosnia. I'm tired.
Landmine survivors are frequently rejected by their communities. It's a man called Ken Rutherford who drew my attention to it. He said to me, every survivor has a date. He said mine was December 16th, 1993. I said mine was the 29th of July, 1981, my wedding day.
So that's not untrue.
See, I've always thought my arms were better than my legs.
Maybe they are, and people just focus so much on the legs that they miss the arms. And just seem to have good taste in music. Appreciate it. Well, for me, prefer. By whatever accounts I can see, she seemed to be a very good mother. I remember no journalist saying any different when she was alive. Pretty eyes.
Mr. Fayed.
Which Mr. Fayed? The first two of them. Dodi or Moon?
There are some photos of us on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said no when you were there.
I know. It makes no sense.
I'm surprised he knows about them before they came out. I would have thought as soon as they had them, they'd like print them like right off the bat. Be the first people to print. So some of the overzealousness and ridiculousness of these paparazzi because of freedom of the press, or is there something else going on? It just seems like there should be more regulation and control. But I understand that when something is considered free, that people get very upset with more regulation. Some regulation is necessary, especially when you're talking about protecting your citizens.
He's weird.
He's sweet and he means well.
Really? It's not for long.
Definitely at that age. Kids both don't like this public displays of affection or private. And we have our own things with these photographs when it comes to us, where my kids feel like it shouldn't be allowed for anybody to be taking pictures of anyone else without their consent. And I don't know exactly what the laws are on that when it comes to your family members, but I know there are certain laws about, getting consent. I kind of doubt that was much of a thing then, but I should definitely go and look into what the laws are exactly. Because I prefer to stay within the law. Maybe not necessarily when I'm driving, but the rest of the time.
Can we be brilliant at all this?
I hope so. It should be the most important thing in life. Whether you're married or not, taking care of your kids, that should be number one.
Let's be brilliant at divorce.
Sometimes that is the way.
Dodi asked me to give you this. It's a satellite telephone, so you can stay in touch over the next few days, in case things develop.
He was with his father to collect wood, and then suddenly there was a loud bang.
So they uncovered a mine here yesterday.
Works with the explosion when you step on it. And the fragmented mine, well, it scatters little pieces of plastic everywhere.
If there are any doubts, stand absolutely still.
She really is walking in a minefield.
Anyone's wildest imaginings.
One would almost feel sorry for her if one weren't so cross with her.
Well, you can feel sorry for her and be cross with her at the same time.
The Bosnian War is over. There are hundreds of thousands of landmines.
You know about your new boyfriend?
Gordon, if we could stick to the subject at hand, please.
We're not answering personal questions.
Is this just another fling?
I think who's ever in control of this meeting should shut it down and escort all of us. If you can't stick to the topic of an important thing like that, then you shouldn't be allowed in. And they make it clear. You want to be invited in, you have to stick to the fucking topic. Otherwise, you won't even be allowed in the room where...
I can't help feeling sorry for her. She just spent 3 days campaigning on behalf of landmine victims. That's the message she wanted beamed around the world. Kelly Fisher
is now suing Mr. Fayed for breach of contract. So
I think I thought Catherine because my sister's name is Catherine.
In a strange way,
My mom's middle name is Catherine,
it's not
so
also
it's
presented with an
sticks in my head more than Kelly.
scandal dignity. A tabloid
We're
princess as
sorry
opposed to
for her, but you're going to utilize this
prince.
to
Now,
ruin her more.
how do you feel about doing a counter photo?
How can I justify that? Besides, how am I going to present the idea of a photo shoot to the boys? They hate doing that sort of thing, and I don't blame them.
You tell them it's a deal so that the media leave us alone for the rest of the holiday.
But are they going to?
Questioning where to find a trustworthy photographer.
The guy at the convention.
Duncan Muir, just calm down. You can have this. Right, see you later. Right.
Friends are just going to tease us, especially if you wear a kilt and carry a shepherd's crook, like little Bo Peep, little Pa Peep.
Shouldn't you guys go to school in Scotland? Wouldn't that be like kind of accepted attire?
You don't have to wear a kilt if you don't want to. Prince William, can you come closer in, please?
He's grabbing his armpit.
That's the shot.
Why does he keep grabbing his armpit? Sweating from being stressed out.
Boys hated doing it.
I'm sure they visit a psychic in Derbyshire, terrorising some tiny village in the process.
So this is what we're calling terrorizing. Anything you don't like, call the people involved terrorists. You wanted her out. She's out. Maybe allow her to be out and stop complaining.
All one
yeah,
wants is for that girl to find peace.
This image to my phone. I did notice that the other swimsuits did not look like that. Okay, so that was the second episode. It was all right. Felt kind of like a filler episode, but we did get a closer look at the paparazzi and what was going on with them and what was kind of feeding this frenzy to get imagery of the princess. And a little bit of the offshoots of them trying to kind of counter that imagery. I feel like a lot of that could have been shown in like first 10 minutes and then we could have gotten on to other stuff. But they did talk a little bit about the landmines, so we got to hear a little bit more about the problems with and why Princess Diana ever got into that in the first place, and a little bit about the relationship. So it does sound like there's really not a well-known idea of whether she was really in a romantic relationship or that relationship was more of a friend relationship. Not that it should matter. I just feel like there should have been more done about keeping these journalists and photographers and everything on a tighter leash. Because if their leash is that loose, obviously they're going to do ridiculous stuff in order to get their images, in order to make more money, and maybe they need to be put on a tighter leash. I know freedom of the press is important, but at what cost? Anyway, I will see you all next week for episode 3 of The Crown. Bye.
Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.